So tonight we will be talking about equity and inclusion and how St. Edward's University supports our students and our community that belongs to LGBTQIA+. And so I have been joined by some of my lovely colleagues on our campus, as well as one of our current students. And so we'll be sharing with you a bit about academics, also some of the different university support and initiatives that we've implemented over the past several years, and then also sharing a little bit more about the student experience. And at the end of this conversation, you'll get the chance to you'll get the chance to ask any questions that you'd like. And myself, as part of the admission office, or anyone else who's joining us this evening, will be happy to answer them for you. So let's get started. So this is over Zoom. And so kind of how the format works is this conversation will be, I'd say between 30 minutes to an hour, kind of depending on what type of questions that you all have. As you think of questions, please use the Q&A function located on your screen. We will not be using the chat box. You can ask your questions directly by stating your name, or you can ask them anonymously. Also be aware of your camera and your mic is muted, so we cannot see or hear you, but you will be able to see and hear us. All right, so who are we? So St. Edward's University, we are a small private Catholic liberal arts institution. And as you can see by some of these numbers over here, this kind of gives you a good idea of what we have to offer. So we have a little under 3,500 students that attend, which means that we're able to really provide a space where students can build really close personal and professional relationships with their professors. As you can see, our average class size is 18. None of our classes are taught by teachers assistants, as our professors are here to work directly with our undergraduate student population. Also, our campus is small enough that it's really easy for students to make friends and build community, really easy, starting as early as their freshman year, as we offer over 100 different student organizations to choose from. But the nice thing is, based on the size of our campus, we're able to offer a wide variety of different academic programs. There's about 50 different majors and minors to choose from. As an incoming freshman, you don't have to know what you want to study just yet. That's something that you can figure out and have a conversation with your academic success coach. And not only will they help you figure out your major, if you want to add a minor, but really kind of develop a 4-year roadmap so you can make the most out of your time while in college. And that can mean participating in really exciting research opportunities with our faculty member, doing internships, in the local Austin area or even beyond, getting involved in volunteering, or even thinking about studying abroad. So you really want to make sure that you make the most out of your time while you're on the Hilltop. Also, we are a diverse campus, and we really want to promote being welcome and inclusive of students from all different backgrounds, whether that's geographically diverse. As you can see, we have students from all over the US and all over the world that attend St. Edward's. Different faith backgrounds and traditions are welcome, as well as different identities as well. And so we want to make sure that we are a place that is safe, and it's a place where students can feel like they are heard and they are seen, and they have a place to be, really to belong. In addition to kind of not only all the different exciting things to get involved in our campus, like I mentioned, student organizations, we also, as you can see, are an NCAA Division II athletic program. We have club sports and other different student organizations as well. But also, St. Edward's is a beautiful place to live and to study and just to be. We are a tree certified campus, which is why you can see on our slide that we have about 4,000 trees. And so as a student at St. Edward's, as you'll walk around, you'll hear birds chirping, you'll see squirrels running around. It's a very, very peaceful place, but we are in Austin, about 3 miles south downtown, so very close to the city as well. So you never will be bored. There's always so many different things to do, and just really great community to get involved in on our campus as well as in the local Austin area. And I did want to go over really briefly the admission process and financial aid. And so our application did open up in August. And so for any of you seniors, there are 3 ways to apply to St. Edward's, either through the application on our website, the Common App, or Apply Texas. We don't have a preference which way that you apply. We just want to make it accessible and easy for students who are considering a wide variety of different institutions. And it is free to apply. Our next deadline coming up is December 1st. And so as long as you apply by that deadline, our application is automatically free. We will automatically consider you for any type of academic-based scholarships that'll be listed in your acceptance letter. And so in addition to submitting your application, we also ask for an essay, a letter of recommendation from a teacher or counselor, as well as your high school transcript. We have decided this year, as well as going forward, to be test optional. So that really just makes it easy for you to make a decision of whether or not you want to submit the SAT or ACT to us. And so we definitely want to remove any type of barriers that students may have been experiencing with the craziness of this year with COVID. and everything. And so if you haven't been able to take the SAT or ACT, that's okay. We don't want you to be stressed. We definitely want to alleviate any of those worries. We also don't want you to put yourself in any type of health risk by taking the SAT or ACT, or even having to travel far in order to take that exam. However, if you have taken the SAT or ACT and feel like that score is strong, it is reflective of your academic abilities, and feel like that would strengthen your application, then by all means, please submit that score to us. So you have the option of picking how you would like to apply, whether or not you want to submit the SAT or ACT to us. Regardless, you will still be considered for admission as well as academic-based scholarships. In addition to those merit scholarships, we also encourage all families to fill out the FAFSA or the TASFA, kind of depending on a student citizenship status. And in addition to working specifically with your admission counselor like myself or someone, a lovely colleague on our team, you also will be assigned a specific financial aid counselor. And so they would be happy to answer any questions that you have about the cost of attendance at St. Edward's as you compare and contrast what we've awarded you compared to other institutions that you are considering. And there is our email address right there. So that if you have any questions, you can definitely reach out to them directly. But we do have a cost calculator on our website. So if you go to stedwards.edu/calculator, you can even figure out an estimation of what you may be able to receive for your financial aid package. And with that, I would like to pass on this presentation to one of my lovely colleagues. Her name is Dr. Alex Barron. She is the associate professor of literature at St. Edward's, as well as the director of freshman seminar here on our lovely campus. So I will pass on to her, and she will be happy to share with you about some of the different courses that she teaches.
Yeah, thanks, Aneasha. Can you hear me okay, Aneasha? Good, okay, great. So as Aneasha said, I am a professor of literature here, associate professor of literature. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about some of the classes that I teach, because I think sometimes when people are coming to a Catholic institution, they're not sure what kind of a climate there's going to be and what kind of acknowledgement of LGBT issues there's going to be both in the classroom and then outside the classroom. And after me, my colleague Lionel is going to talk to you more about what happens outside the classroom. But in the classroom, I teach a number of different classes, and I'm certainly not the only one, but I teach a number of different classes with a lot of queer content. And so for freshmen, I teach a freshman seminar called LGBT Popular Culture. And we study everything from the graphic novel Fun Home to RuPaul's Drag Race to the movie Moonlight. And we talk the freshman seminars are relatively small. We talk in a relatively small group about the importance of queer representation in pop culture. I also teach some classes in our Women's and Gender Studies minor. So I teach a Women's and Gender Studies intro, for instance. I'm teaching that right now. And we cover all kinds of topics that have to do, of course, with gender, right? But also with sexuality. So for instance, today, I was just talking with my students in my class about the film Disclosure about trans representation in the media, which if you haven't seen it, you should totally see it, available on Netflix. Also in the honors department, I teach a class called Queer Art and Activism. And this past couple weeks, we've been focused on the 1980s and 90s and talking about AIDS activism specifically. And then my favorite class, I think, to teach, if I have a favorite, is LGBT literature and film. And that's a class where obviously we focus on literature and film, read a lot of books. One of the student favorites and my favorites is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. And then let's see, what's a good film that we watch that you might have heard of? Well, we watched Moonlight, again, I mentioned earlier. And we sometimes watch the film Wild about Oscar Wilde. So I just wanted to give people a sense that even though this is a Catholic institution, that it's actually a really, I think, a really welcoming place for queer students and queer faculty and queer staff. And you will encounter queer teachers, and you will also encounter queer texts in your classes as well, for sure. The other thing that I do is I'm the advisor for the Pride organization. And I think that Lionel will probably talk more with you about that. But we do have a Pride organization on St. Ed's. We've had it for over 20 years. Anyone's welcome to join. It's a student org. And sometimes it's really active. Sometimes we have students who are putting on events all the time. You know, they'll, I don't want to take over Lionel's stuff, but sometimes we do tons of events, and sometimes it's kind of a quieter group that just has more social interactions, and it has is just kind of a space for the students in the group to come and meet together. And then other times we do big educational events or big social events for everybody on campus. So with that, I think I will pass it off to Lionel Lopez, but I'll be around for the Q&A also. So if you have any question about academics in general, about your classes, about doing queer studies in some of your classes, anything like that, please feel free to ask anything, of course, but those are some things I could probably speak to. And I will now pass it over to Lionel Lopez, who is the assistant director of diversity and inclusion, and my good friend. Okay, bye.
Thanks, Alex, and thanks, Aneasha. Thanks for having me, everyone. Again, my name is Leonard Lopez. I use pronouns he, him, his, and like Alex said, I serve as the Assistant Director to the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. I'm really happy to be here. One of the things that students who are thinking about joining a college think are like, how can I make a community here on campus? And specifically for our LGBTQIA plus community, is there a space on campus where I can hear similar stories, I can be connected with people? There is a student organization, kind of like what Alex was talking about. It is the Pride Student Organization, where I also serve as a co-advisor to. And just like Alex said, a lot of the happenings and going ons of the student organization are monthly check-ins. They also put on just times in which they grab some food. And to the second point here, that you can see is the drag show. So the drag show is actually an event that happens every spring semester. And it's been going on, I believe, for at least 4 years now. Alex might want to check me on that one later. But the drag show is exactly what it sounds like. We do have individuals dressing up in drag, and we've also invited community members to be a part of it as well. Unfortunately, due to COVID, safety regulations, we were not unable to have our drag show this past spring semester. Unfortunately, we had to go off campus, but we do expect for it to happen again in some type of manner this spring 2021. So students can really look forward to getting involved within Pride once they arrive. But then students might also be asking, how are we going to be supported, not just by students, but by faculty and staff, people who are in charge of the university and administration? Well, that's a little bit more of where my office comes in as well. Our office provides an in-depth allies training for our LGBTQI plus community for faculty, staff, and students and student employees. And it kind of like what Alex was talking about, we get those same questions all the time of prospective students about, well, is St. Edward's isn't St. Edward's a Catholic school? And students always get back the same answer. Yeah, it's Catholic, but it's not like Catholic. The fact of the matter is, this is a Catholic university, which means that we are compelled and called upon to support our LGBTQI plus community. We follow the Holy Cross mission and all of the tenets that come with it. And part of our training is teaching that our Holy Cross mission is having to be a part of supporting all individuals, regardless of gender and or sexuality, regardless of identities, regardless of race and ethnicity, that come apart within the LGBTQIA plus community as well. That is what we are called upon to do here at St. Edward's University. And part of what we're trying to do is not only teach our students that, but also making sure that we are training our staff and student employees every year on how to continue to be a better ally. If you are not a member of the LGBTQI community, questions of like, how can I be a better ally come up? And as all identities continue to evolve and to and grow, our ways of being an ally must also continue to grow and evolve as well. So my office and myself really are tasked with putting out this allies training to everyone here on our campus. And it's been a lot of fun. Allies training has been one of the better parts of my time here at St. Edward's. So some of the other things that our university does and students can look forward to do are things like Queer Camp, which happens every fall semester, in the beginning of every fall semester, which again, unfortunately, we were not able to do this fall semester because typically we would take students and we would go out and go to a camp or go to some type of retreat and stay overnight and really grow some connecting bonds with one another and have fun conversations and games with one another. But obviously we couldn't do that this semester. So instead, what my office is going to be planning for in the spring semester is Queer Week. And that will be in the spring semester 2021. And it'll be a week dedicated to having conversations and bringing speakers for students and our staff as well, so that we can kind of be connected within the queer identity. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have some virtual events. We're also going to have some in-person events that are obviously very safe. But one of the things that we want to continue to do is acknowledge that our responses to COVID have really played a part in impacting our LGBTQIA plus community. College has is a place in which students find a better way to find their most authentic selves and be their most authentic selves. And if students are having to choose to learn remotely and do schooling from home, they're not given that opportunity to do so. So what we want to do, and my office is called upon to do, is to provide those spaces for all students to feel welcomed, whether they are on campus or at home doing some online learning. And we're going to make sure that we're building those bridges in order to make sure that students are feeling welcomed. So that'll be Queer Week in the spring semester. Also, we have the Queer Expo, which happens in the spring semesters as well. It's put on by my Equity and Justice Council. And it's just a part of bringing on-campus and off-campus community members to showcase their businesses or their talents or their resources to students. In the past, we've had students who have been photographers who are passing out cards. We've had students who are artists selling their work. We've had students sell thrift clothing as well. But we've also invited community members and nonprofits to campus as well. Nonprofits like the Kind Clinic and other places that support our queer community and our queer community of color as well. So that's our Queer Expo. We're gonna have a version of that in the spring semester that I believe is going to be virtual, but we're going to make sure that we're providing students with that opportunity. One of the other things that our office does is our Lavender graduation, and our Lavender graduation is a specific graduation meant for our LGBTQIA plus community. In the next slide, you will see some pictures of students that are partaking in the Lavender graduation. That's been going on for a number of years now too. Again, due to COVID, we weren't able to have it in the spring. We made it into the multicultural graduation ceremony, but this spring, we're gonna make sure that students who are graduating and are part of the queer community are being recognized. And that is continuing to be a thing that we have here as well. And one of the last things that our office kind of does, like in a realm, is I also serve as an adjunct faculty and teach the gender and sexuality within pop culture. It's a fashion seminar course that Dr. Barron was very, very nice in letting me teach this semester, and has been an amazing support. It's been amazing, opportunity for students to learn and talk about what gender and sexuality are, what they can be, and how they're being represented within pop culture. And many of the conversations that we have are surrounding the queer community and also involving components such as race and ethnicity in order to combine them into like a conversation around intersectionality. And it's been an amazing experience. I'm very thankful for Alex for allowing me to do that. So those are just a number of things that our office kind of allows and provides for our students here once they're on campus. And these are some pictures that that we have. The top left is from Queer Camp, I believe 2018 or 2017, I want to say actually. And then these other photos are from Lavender graduation. So we actually provide students with individual rainbow stoles that they can wear to the graduation itself, and then actually to their commencement the week later. So those are just a few things that students can get involved with once they're here with us on the Hilltop. What I'm going to do now is turn it over to Leon.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Lionel, and Dr. Barron too. So now I just have just Leon, Linam, sorry. He is a current student at St. Edward's. He's a junior, as you can see what he's currently studying and kind of where he's from. Him and I are just gonna have a conversation so you all can hear a little bit more about his experience at St. Edward's, what life is like, has been on the Hilltop, as well as what it's like living in Austin. So thank you so much for being here, Leon. All right, so first, could you just share with everyone, again, just introduce yourself, share your hometown, your major, your minor, your extracurricular involvements, as well as your leadership roles that you've taken advantage of while being here at St. Ed's.
So awesome. Thank you for having me. As you said, I am Leon. I am a current student here. I'm in my third year. I study theater and with an emphasis in design and technology. I'm mainly focused on costume design specifically. I'm from San Antonio. I went to Legacy of Educational Excellence High School. And now I currently work in the Office of Admissions as one of the outreach people. I've worked as an orientation leader. I've worked in our diversity and inclusion office as an office assistant, and then also as a member of the Equity and Justice Council, specifically working with the outreach part of that. So I was one of the people that helped organize Queer Expo last semester, and that was a really great opportunity. And then lastly, I'm also a member of our Presence Advisory Council, which sort of works with a bunch of different faculty, staff, students to make St. Edward's a more inclusive community.
Wonderful. Thank you for all the different ways that you're involved in our campus. So could you share with everyone just some of the factors that contributed to your decision to attend St. Edward's? What was that kind of process like in that journey to then join our lovely university?
Yeah, so I was recruited after doing an audition for our theater program. So I was able to meet with one of our professors personally and get acquainted with the university that way. I also I knew coming to Austin was something I was really looking to do because it's not too far from San Antonio, so I like that closeness. But I also enjoyed the fact that it's a very welcoming community for our LGBT population, and it's like Austin is chock full of people that are part of the queer community, and it's like has so many different resources that different people that are a part of the LGBTQIA community are able to take part of. So we have things like Out Youth, which I was able to do queer therapy at, and that was a really great experience. I also go, like, there's also the Kind Clinic, which will be opening a location in the South Austin area, which will be a lot closer to our university, which is really exciting, not only for students who might need PrEP, but also for students like me who need hormone replacement therapy. And that is a really exciting thing to be happening and like it's gonna be available to so many more people. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And can you share a little bit more about your experience within our theater department and Scholarship Audition Weekend, and maybe even some of the different plays or ways that you've helped within the programs that the university has put on within theater?
Yeah, so our theater is currently putting on our 10-minute play festival. I was able to sound design one of our shows through one of my classes. I was also able to take photos of that program last night in order to like really captures like how beautiful like this experience is. Right now is being adapted to be a sort of drive-in experience. In order to allow for social distancing, but also still allowing our actors, our designers, and everybody else, like our stage managers, to be able to like still express their creativity and their talents in that way. I've also been a wardrobe team member, meaning I helped organize the costumes backstage. I've also done the same thing for our hair and makeup department as well.
It's pretty incredible. I think especially just how adaptive that our whole campus community has had to be in light of COVID. And so it's really great that you all are still putting on plays, that you're still performing, that you're still designing sets and continue to be creative and expressive. We really do need, we need more artists, especially this time when we can't all be together in person. So can you share with everyone a bit how you have advocated for social justice on our campus and maybe even in the community?
Yeah, definitely. So when I first came to campus, we had a we still do have, but we had gender inclusive housing as an option on our housing portal. I filled that out and I was like, okay, cool, this will be really exciting. And then wasn't reached out to again. However, things have changed. I was able to talk to our one of the leaders of the housing department here at St. Edward's, like one-on-one, and I was able to like, hey, this is what's happening, and it's really hurting our trans community, and like this person, the person I talked to had no idea. He was like, it was just moved into the position, and was actually very actively listening. We nerded about D&D together for a while as well. And like I've been able to like see those changes happen right before my eyes, and that was really incredible knowing that this that St. Edward's really does want to support people like me and everybody else that is a part of our LGBT community. I've also outside of St. Edward's, I believe it was last year is when during Intersex Awareness Day, I was able to go downtown and like take part of it was like a small gathering of people out like on the steps of the Capitol, just like talking about like what intersex is and like educating like not only the people that were there, but they were also live streaming it, and just like being able to be there and be able to support our intersex community in the Austin area was really, really incredible.
That's great. Thank you so much for how you've been able to shape our campus and make it more inclusive and just a space where students feel comfortable and really have a sense of belonging. And so can you share a little bit, and you kind of mentioned a little bit kind of how the process was for figuring out your housing, but in what other ways have you felt heard and supported by our community here on campus, whether that be from faculty, from staff members, or even your peers and fellow students?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things that come to mind is that our faculty and staff can be openly LGBT and are able to be like loudly and proudly be able to be like, oh, hey, I'm queer and I'm here. Whereas like coming from the school district that I did, like our teachers and other staff members weren't like legally allowed, or they could say that they were part of the community. They were at a huge risk of being fired or anything like that, which is really, really unfortunate. But being able to come to St. Edward's and like actually connect with a ton of the like faculty and staff, like one-on-one, be like have that connection and knowing that it's not just the students that are a part of this community, but that also like our university isn't looking down on us in any way. Even with our allies, our like faculty and staff members, I've had a lot of support from them as well. Even if they're not perfect all the time, like they are still willing to learn and adapt and put their best foot forward. And if they do make mistakes, it's never with malicious intent. Like they really do care about our queer community and everybody else that is here.
That's great. I'm really glad to hear about that experience. And lastly, you kind of just touched upon it a little bit as far as different kind of community resources as well as community events. And so what are some of the other benefits of being a college student in Austin?
Yeah, definitely. Like everything that I've said so far, like Austin's a really great queer space. And then also even going beyond just queerness, Austin's a really good city to be in general. There are so many opportunities to get involved with our city, whether you're someone that likes to be an advocate in any sort of way, like you're able to advocate with uh, our government directly and like take part in that process. You're also able to do like a lot of small things for fun. Like there are so many theaters in Austin that I find really, really enjoyable. And they're always looking for new students to get involved. We also have like a bunch of different resources and internships available for people that aren't arts focused like I am. Um, so like there's a bunch of different like tech spaces. Like there's Rooster Teeth that exists. There's a bunch of there's a bunch of hotspots in Austin for more technology-based things. Basically, Austin has a bunch of resources available for everybody, and I think that's really, really neat.
I certainly agree with you. And I just also want to just ask you, we talked about this before, but what are some things you like to do for fun, or how do you focus on your own self-care?
Yeah, so definitely, like I said before, I am a huge theater nerd, as to be expected at this point. Also, our campus is located really close to a walking trail and just like a small park called Blum Creek. And it's such a beautiful place just to go like walk through and just like take time for mindfulness and meditation and just being able to breathe and focus on nature for a while and just get away. And, like there's even a part like where you go up the hill and then you're able to see our campus from up there, and it's just so breathtaking and it's so nice. And it's like knowing that's like right there next to our university is so cool. And then like also like being like a tree filled campus, I feel like it is also really nice for self-care because you can just like sort of like sit by one and just sort of breathe for a while and like have them breathe with you, and it's nice.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Leon. And so we have had a couple questions that have come in, and so I will kind of share them with the audience, and either myself or really any of our lovely representatives today will be happy to answer these questions directly. So just definitely want to kind of remind everyone, if you do have additional questions, please list them. You can post them in the Q&A button, just click on there. And then after today too, if you have additional questions that you think of that you maybe didn't get a chance to ask, or things that come to mind, you can definitely email us directly at scu.admit@stedwards.edu. And then of course, visiting our website where you can kind of learn a little bit more about St. Edwards. You can check out so many of the different things that we all talked about today, set up a campus visit, and then even start your application too. So yes, just wanted to thank you again, Leon, for what you shared, as well as Dr. Barron and Lionel. So the first question that came in, and I think we kind of answered it, but if there's anything else anyone would like to say as far as what organizations are offered that support LGBT communities, as well as advocates a sense of togetherness. I feel like that was already addressed a little bit, but I wanted to see if anyone would like to chime in for anything else.
Yeah, definitely. I think everyone here can take a little part of that. I'll say that obviously the Pride Student Organization is an amazing way to start in getting involved when it comes to getting involved within the LGBTQIA plus community. But also, I also like to send a quick reminder that every RA, new or returning, has an allies training in the beginning of the year. Um, and I say this because if you are choosing to live on campus, you can expect and you can hold your RAs accountable in being an ally to the LGBTQIA plus community themselves. So they are properly trained in, having conversations, and they're even also trained in if they are, if a student has chosen to come out to them as well. They it's part of the training. So we give out these little placards at the end of the allies training. So even on campus, faculty members, staff members, and students, they will put out this placard in front of their room or in front of their office to let people know that they are an ally to the LGBTQIA plus community. So I mean, that's just another thing.
I would just add, like, definitely Pride would be the main place I think that a new queer student on campus would go to find other queer community. But I would also say that one of the things I love about St. Ed's is that because it's a really small school, there's a lot that you can do and create on your own. So I've seen students create all kinds of organizations, student organizations in my time here. And really all they have to do is have an idea, get a couple of people interested, and then go to Lionel's office, and the whole student life area and just say, like, I'd like to start an organization. And so I know there's an organization that people have proposed that we need maybe a trans student organization. We don't have that yet, but we might soon. We certainly will if anybody wants to start it. So I think there's a lot of opportunity in a small school to kind of create community that you want, create groups that you want, create events that you want, kind of make things happen. This maybe is a really minor example, but we have this coffee shop called Joe's, and like when it's not COVID times, I'm at Joe's every day, like multiple hours a day. So is everybody else. It's where we all go to be caffeinated and just hang out and see people right on campus. And one of my ex-students, me and Lionel share a great fondness for the student B. B was like, I really think there should be a pride flag in Joe's. Like, I just think it would be a friendlier place if if we had a pride flag. And so she just went to the manager of Joe's and was like, kind of just pestered her and was like, can we put up a pride flag? And ended up giving them, I think, this gigantic, huge pride flag that hangs in Joe's now. And I just, again, I know that's not a very important example, but I just think when students want something to happen at St. Ed's, they can often create the kind of community that they want. There's a lot of opportunities for that. There's a lot of welcomeness for that.
Wonderful. Those were both great examples that you two shared. And also just would want to say too, as far as the sense of togetherness, I think kind of to go off of what Dr. Barron said, is the fact that we are a small campus, that students are able to see familiar faces on campus as they walk around. So feeling known and seen is really great, whether it's by their peers or faculty or staff, and even to some of the different ongoing community events that we have throughout the year. So not specifically just for our queer students or students who belong to those communities, but even like Hillfest, which happens at the beginning of school year, which is a giant welcome ceremony, welcome party for all incoming freshman students. And so that's a great way to just make friends and feel and kind of find your tribe, your community, find your friends. And so I think those are some, like that event happens, in the fall, and then we usually have homecoming that happens in February. And that's a great event where not only do our different student organizations get to have different competitions against each other, and do tailgating and also watch the basketball game together. And we usually have a casino night, but then also we invite families and alumni to come back on campus during that time. And this year it'll be kind of a hybrid model where it's in person and virtually, but even just thinking about being part of the community extends to not only during your time as a current student, but then also staying connected with families and then even alumni when after you graduate as well. So I wanted to mention that kind of overall sense of togetherness that we definitely foster on our campus. I do want to say for the next question, I saw that someone raised their hand. Zaria Webb, I believe it is. If you have a question, I'm not sure to answer it if you have raised your hand, but if you want to post your question in the Q&A option, I will be happy to answer that. But the next question that has been posted is, how does your school work to prevent discrimination on campus? Is the school's process in ensuring justice thorough or half done? That's an excellent question. And I think Lionel might be answering you because he came, he's come back into the room. So here we go. I'll pass on to you.
I'm back, everyone. Actually, I think this is another wonderful opportunity for Alex and I to team up on this. I've been here at the Hilltop for about 2 years now in my role as an assistant director to the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. And I can tell you that the university does a superb job in making sure that any instances of discrimination, prejudice, and/or stereotyping is handled immediately. And I won't say that because Alex and I both serve as members of multiple committees to make sure that we are engaging in conversations around diversity and inclusion, but also in responsiveness to that. This year, I've served as a member to the Presidential Advisory Council, and this most recent semester as a member of the Presidential Task Force on Systemic Racism. And I bring that up because, especially in a conversation around our queer community, making sure that queer members of color are also being taken into account of, and that their safety is being ensured here at St. Edward's and off the Hilltop as well. So one of the ways that we make sure in doing this is by continuing to develop plans and effective responses. I can let Alex talk a little bit more about PAC, the Presidential Advisory Council, just because I've only been in it a short time. But I can also say that I serve as a member to the Bias Incident Response Team. And many of the incidents that kind of run through it are dealing around gender, sexuality, and/or race. So we are on top of all of the things that you might see here on campus. These conversations are held, they're held accordingly and responsibly. And it's the responsibility of everyone here on campus to make sure that our students are being in the best, best safety as possible. And then also training our administrators in the same way as well. Alex, did you want to talk a little bit more about PAC or talk a little bit more about anything else?
Yeah, I guess what I would say, I love that whoever asked this question, super smart question, thank you. I would say that in my experience, the school we try very hard as a community to make sure that we prevent discrimination, right? That's what we're trying to do. So like Lionel said, the staff has tons of ally training, how to be supportive to queer communities, to all kinds of communities, but in this case, I'll focus on queer. And the student employees, like the RAs that Lionel was talking about, go through training. So everybody is expected to be invested in us being a diverse campus, an inclusive campus, and an equitable campus, right? That's what we expect. And a lot of that comes down to the Holy Cross mission. And I didn't really know from Catholic or Holy Cross or Catholic social justice teachings when I came to St. Ed's, like I just didn't. And I really love that it's in our mission statement that we encourage our whole community, teachers, all of us, students, to confront the critical issues of society and seek justice and peace. And I think all of us in this community take that really seriously. I also appreciate what Leon said earlier. Leon was like, we don't always do it perfectly, and that's absolutely true, but there is a commitment to being good allies to each other, being good community members, and supporting each other. And then when that does fail, when we do have incidents of bias, we have a bias incident response team and other mechanisms, right, that we can use to try and support to make sure that the community supported. So I think that's what I would say. And there's tons of committees like Lionel mentioned, President's Advisory Committee for a Respectful and Inclusive Campus. And we meet, every Friday for many hours and talk about issues. And so there's lots of committees that are doing this work. And I just say that to say that it's important to all of us, right? But the last thing, I guess I do want to make sure that I'm not being too sort of painting too rosy a picture, and just say that, we do still have incidents of bias at times. And when I've talked to students, and Leon in particular, correct me, but anybody correct me if you've heard different. When I talk to students, they usually queer students, and I ask them about what it feels like to be a queer student on campus. They often say, I don't feel usually discriminated against overtly. Like I don't feel like there are incidences of prejudice or really bad harassment or prejudice or anything bad happening. What they say most often is that sometimes they don't feel visible. They don't feel seen by the university. And so that's something that I think all of us have been working on. Can we make sure that we're just really doing a good job of making sure our queer students are always kind of seen in their whole selves, like not just that Leon's a theater major, but that Leon's a theater major and queer, and like all those parts of him are valued and appreciated. So that's what we're working on. So we got some work to do, but we do some stuff too.
Yeah, and I'll say this too. Like, I've worked at I've worked at a couple other universities and schools. I got my undergraduate and graduate degree at Texas State University, where I worked as a graduate student, and then after graduate school, I worked at Austin Community College on the at Eastview campus. But no place that I've worked has there been a written commitment to diversity and inclusion in every single department's mission statement. So I'm happy that Dr. Barron brought that up, because that is not very common. And what that does is it makes sure that we are all held accountable to this certain level of making sure that students are being kept safe. So one of the other things that I do for my job is to create and facilitate custom trainings around racism, gender, sexuality, providing a safe space and allyship for LGBTQIA plus community, for first gen students, for students who may be disabled, students, all different types of trainings. I create these types of presentations to present to classrooms, to present to departments, to present in residence halls. Just recently, just today, actually, I got a submission for a presentation surrounding the Black Lives Matter movement. And that was spectacular. I was like, yes, our office has already done an event this semester surrounding the Black Lives Matter movement and how it has grown from its creation and how it's been a part of other civil rights movements. And one of the things that we talked in very depth about is how the Black Lives Matter movement also plays an important role in talking about our queer community within our Black community as well. So making sure that we are providing safe space for Black trans lives, for Black queer lives, all these types of things, that plays a part in what this training is going to be about and the kind of conversations that we're having here on campus. So yeah, we make sure that we are covering a wide spectrum in order to make sure that we are doing our due diligence in advocating for all types of students and all types of communities as well.
Aneasha, do we have time for me to say one more thing that Lionel made me think about?
We do, yes, go for it.
So just as you were talking, Lionel, I was just thinking about all the amazing student groups on campus, and Pride is the one that I work most closely with, but I wanted to just highlight that we have a group called Monarchs on the Hilltop, which is was created to support our undocumented students and our students from mixed status families, but it's kind of gotten even bigger and more inclusive. Like everybody who wants to work to support those communities are there. And then of course we have a BSA, like hopefully every school does. And we have, I'll just name those two. And what I think is really interesting is that Pride always works with all of those other organizations, and all those other student leaders always work with pride. And I've been at other universities where there is a little bit of a kind of a split or divisions or conflict, maybe not major conflict, but a little. But at CNN, it's like the leaders of Monarchs on the Hilltop just sent out all this info about the Point Scholarship for LGBTQ students, right? And the BSA wanted to do an event where they brought the Mahogany Project into campus. Like, it's the student leaders are better than any of us at seeing that these are intersectional struggles, and that we all have to work together, and they constantly kind of show and lead the way. So I just want to say that.
Yeah, and BSA stands for the Black Student Alliance. Acronyms, higher education is full of them.
Thank you. Yes, I think definitely our campus is very collaborative, and our students are engaged in so many different organizations on and off campus, and it's really incredible to see the teamwork, the collaboration, and just the impact that our students are able to make by making their voices and their perspectives known. And it's great that our faculty and staff often are receptive to that, and that we can all kind of acknowledge our own limitations, our own biases, and hopefully grow for the better and change things for the better for our whole community. So thank you everyone for what you shared. We still have a little bit of time. If anyone else has a question, feel free to drop that in the Q&A box. I do want to highlight one more thing too. I mentioned before, if anyone does want to visit our campus, in addition to tonight's webinar, we do have so many different virtual programs happening all the time. In addition to admission presentations, we have financial aid presentations every other Friday. We tend to do a program called Friday in Focus, where we highlight our different academic programs, and a faculty or staff from that department will have a conversation kind of similar like today, this evening, where we talk about a certain major or academic program, what classes you can expect to take, similar to kind of how Dr. Barron shared this evening, what some of our students do for an internship, or what they do even after they graduate, highlighting alumni and those type of that type of conversation and that type of content. And then we also are offering in-person campus tours on a limited basis on Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays. And so if you are in Austin or close by, or even if you're going to come travel and visit people during the upcoming Thanksgiving break or winter holiday, definitely we want to invite you to come walk around our campus. It's quiet now. Many of our students are staying at home and taking their classes online, but there still are people around. And so if you do want to walk around and see what the physical environment is like, if you want to check out the green space like Leon and I shared about, if you want to kind of peek in and take a look at what Joe's looks like, even how Dr. Barron had mentioned, and see the pride flag that's up, excuse me. I think that's definitely a great way to definitely be able to explore us. And then we're part of the Zini platform. And so it's an app that you can download, and that is a great way to connect with other students who are considering St. Edward's. You might be able to just chat with them, hear about their college search, and kind of start building community, maybe make friends or meet a future roommate. And then also some of our current students. I'm not sure if Leon's part of it, but we definitely have some of our current students who are working as ambassadors. And so they are also on the Zini platform. And so you can actually hear from other students about what their experience has been like in college, what it's like to attend St. Edward's, different ways that they've been involved, what they've learned in the classroom, ways that they've shaped our campus for the better, and ways that they're taking on different leadership roles. So definitely wanted to kind of encourage everyone to be aware of that. By no means is this the end of the conversation, I'd say. As you all are considering the different schools that you're looking into, and as you think about your future and where you want to go to college, definitely reach out to us. We are very accessible, very approachable. We want to be mindful and flexible and really meet students where they're at, especially during this disruptive time of COVID, where it can be hard to find community, where it can feel very isolating. And so please reach out to us through email and let us know what you need through the college application process, what information you want to know about us as you make that decision, because we are here to get to know you. We're very eager to do so. And myself as an admission counselor, I love connecting with my students, not only through learning about their stories and their lives and their journeys through their application, but also having them attend Zoom presentations like this, or setting up a one-on-one appointment. Also, our faculty and staff and students are very accessible, to if you have questions specifically, you can definitely reach out to any of us really that are here tonight. So I do definitely want to emphasize that. And it's reflective of the community that we try and foster. So Dr. Barron, what would you like to share?
I'm so excited, Aneasha. I just wanted to say that one thing that I was not smart enough to do as an undergraduate, but when I was looking at colleges, and I recommend to everyone, is it's very reasonable for you to want to talk to somebody if you are someone like Leon, who came in knowing what their major was, knowing what they wanted to pursue. Contact someone. If you want to talk to someone in literature, definitely contact me. So just tell your admissions counselor, like, Aneasha, I'd like to talk to a faculty member who does X or Y, and you can talk to someone. Or if for instance, you want to get involved in a particular student org, ask to talk to Lionel, right? This is a great way to kind of know more about the school. Because the thing I always think is, there's no one right school for everybody. You have to figure out what the right fit for you is. If you want to be in a rural community, St. Ed's is probably not the best fit for you. It's green and it's lovely, but it's in the middle of Austin, right? If you want to be at a giant school where you can be really anonymous and you're never going to, see anyone and get to know your professors, St. Ed's is not a great fit for you. And I know that sounds crazy, but I actually had a student once who came to St. Ed's and transferred because they were like, I just want to see fewer people who know me and not get to know my professor. So I was like, all right, great. So they transferred to UT. And I think you need to figure out if we're the right fit for you. And so ask us to provide you with the people who you're interested in talking to.
Yeah, and what I want to do what I want to do quickly here is talk about how much of a trusted student leader and person Leon is, because Leon won't do that. Leon has really grown in his third year here on the Hilltop, has become, just an amazing individual and student leader. Whether that be within the Equity and Justice Council, within the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, whether that have been with orientation too, right, Leon? To work in the Office of Admissions now, Leon, and then being a part of our, task force for systemic racism. Leon has become an essential part in the leadership fabric that we have here on campus, and I will not allow Leon to say otherwise. But Leon, what I wanted to do here very quickly is talk about, or ask you, can you talk about what it was like for you to, make community here at St. Edward's, and then also just kind of grow within your leadership? What was that like for you? Was it easy? Was it hard? Was it what was that like for you?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for everything that you said. I got a little teary-eyed. But coming to St. Edward's is my first time being fully out as a member of the trans community. So it was a really major step for me, and it is for a lot of people that do come to college. And so I was coming to campus, I was extremely nervous. I didn't know what to expect. But I knew I had to get a job somewhere. So I applied for the diversity and inclusion office assistant position, and it was a really great place where I got to know so many people. And a lot of offices are like that. Not only are you going to be working with the people that are directly there, but everybody overlaps here on campus. Everybody wants to reach out and know what you're doing. And so because of that support system, I was able to grow more into a leadership role. And yeah, it wasn't easy. I deal really heavily with anxiety and things like that. So having that support was really essential for me to be able to grow as not only a student, but as a student leader. And every day I'm very, very grateful for all of that.
Yay, Leon. Leon's one of my favorite people ever.
Big mine too. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Yes, Dr. Barron, Lionel, Leon, for everything that you shared today, students who are attending the session, for the questions that you asked. And like I said, please continue this conversation. Please reach out. We want to get to know you personally, even before you become Hilltopper. We want to get to know your goals, your aspirations, your worries, your fears, all of that. Let us know. So please reach out to us. Feel free to email us. I'd be happy to put you in touch with your admission counselor or financial aid, or anyone on our campus who can help you get to know St. Edward's better and see if we are the place you want to be. So I just want to thank you all for attending tonight. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I hope everyone stays safe and healthy, and just, has all the best kind of in the days and months to come. And hopefully we can see you on the Hilltop sometime soon. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thanks, Aneasha. Thanks, everyone. Bye.